All right, so I think that I am live on time actually. So if you can see me, if you can hear me, I would hope that you give me a good comment here so I know that everything is good to go. It looks like YouTube has been going for the last 13 seconds, so that's a step in the right direction. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me, so I will start with my traditional greeting. Hey fam, Swati Tukong Krap Pinik here. And again, if you're ever curious, Sawatdi tuk kon krap. Sawatdi is hello. Kun is, or tuk kon is everyone in Thai. And then krap is the way a male ends a sentence in Thai. A female ends a sentence in ka. So if my wife was here, she would say Swati tuk kon ka. But I digress. I am here, so Swati tuk kon krap. And I do that because I live in Thailand. And I may not be Thai, I am Canadian, but I want to be respectful of everyone. So I say it in English because that's my native language, and say it in the language of the country I live in. Now, of course, I could say it in Spanish as well. Hola, mis familia. If I wanted to say it, or mi familia, I guess, not mis familia, that mis familias, but that'd be still wrong. So it's been a while since I spoke Spanish, but I digress. I learned Spanish in school and lived in Chile for 2 years, so I'm not fluent, but I think I always got by fairly well without any issues speaking Spanish, like re-adding phone time on my phone because I had prepaid phone in Chile with Movistar, and taught English at an institute that no longer exists. But that's all right. That was because it was owned by an older gentleman, and yeah. Anyhow, I am hopeful that someone is here. I'm not sure if anyone is, but I am trying to get Dynasty or Demon Souls to load because someone had requested that. So let me just try this again. And let's see here. I hope that everyone's doing great. If you're watching this live, or even if you're not, let me know where are you watching this, because I'm always interested to know where my audience is from. That said, I'll probably be doing quite a bit of talking over the next hour or two. So I'm getting a drink here. I try to drink 0 sugar drinks. So, of course, I have this Lipton 0 sugar. I can't see who's joined, but it looks like somebody's joined, so I'm guessing that might be Ethan, as he's usually here at the beginning of the meetings. So here's my drink. What are you drinking tonight or while you're watching this? Are you having coffee? Are you having water? What are you having tonight? All right, so obviously we're not going to be trying every game on the list, but again, I do keep a real list, and once it gets too long, I will create an Excel sheet for it. But in the interim, I do have these lists, so we're working off of that. Of course, ESDE does take forever to load, and it's not because this device is slow. It's because ESDE is trying to create a list every time you open it. And since I have 50,000 games on here, ESDE takes a little bit to verify my list. So, today's a new stream, so let's go with a different UI look. Decaf, solid with meta. Let's see what that looks like. Whoever is here, I'd appreciate it if you say hi to let me know who it is that's here. All right, so let's take a look here. Okay, interesting. Google Android, the Atari 2600. Okay. I like that it's given us the descriptions, the meta of the console itself, and then if we go into the console, we can go side by side and still get the meta, and then we get a frame capture as well as some screenplay. Boy, that would be a really strange way to play tennis. I'll have to try that. Top down, I don't know if I've ever played top down tennis. What is that called? That is Adidas Championship Tiebreak. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll lift it up so you can, but there it is. Adidas Championship Tiebreak. Quite the interesting version of tennis. I'll have to give that a try. All right, so as you can see, I currently have the bottom screen off. One of the cool things I kind of like though is if you turn off the bottom screen, you can use it as a trackpad in something that might require. So see, now I've closed out of the game or on a browser, anything like that. Now I can use it as a gigantic trackpad. Probably the biggest trackpad to screen ratio you can have anywhere. Let me see if I can't get it to load this time here for us. So we're going to force close out of RPCSX. Okay. And again, we're going with Demon Souls first because I promised Mauricio, my relatively new subscriber, but I appreciate you. So I want to try to get this working if I can. So I get to this point and it's not progressing further. I don't know if it's trying to download additional content to my device like Metal Gear Solid 4 did, which always took like an hour on a PlayStation for it to download the contents from the disk onto the hard drive so it could play the game faster because the hard drive was faster than the Blu-ray drive on the PS1 or PS1 on the PS3. Looks like it's just me again, but that's all right. So we'll give it just another moment. I don't know why it's not going beyond the screen. It looks like it's working. It's not stalled out, as you can see. So there is that. Now, like I say, of course, I am using my trusty notepad for reference, but pay no attention to other things. I'm not going to tell you what's coming next, but obviously next week things are coming. So, have to be prepared for those types of things. But this week, of course, is all about the DS because it's a big boy that a lot of people have questions about, want to see it working, see if I've come around other workarounds. I haven't downloaded Beacon yet, which is what one subscriber had suggested for the dual screen to be more seamless. So it will be interesting to try that. Again, I haven't tried that. I'll probably try that tomorrow before I do my review, so probably tomorrow morning, just for full transparency before I start to record my short-term review. And I do call it a short-term review even though it's 2 weeks with this device, because as the last couple of weeks have shown, I like to go back to the idea that I've always had is have a device for 3 to 6 months and then go back and have long-term reviews with it. So yes, these are my devices, and yes, they are here either being plain or sitting on shelves, and of course grabbed whenever I feel like it. But yeah, I'm excited about the new Trim UI Smart Pro that I'm going to be receiving in red, because as you all know, red is my favorite color, and I've only reviewed one other red device that I can recall, and that was the Anbernic G3x which is a great no analog stick Game Boy Advance SP clone, but with a 3:4 aspect ratio screen but great hinge. So I might as well just grab it because I think it's a pretty device and it's partially transparent. So this is the only other red one that I've reviewed, like say by Anbernic, and I love transparent shells and I love red. So I loved this device, but of course, I'm sure that I will also love the non-transparent but updated of the TrimUI Smart Pro. Okay, it looks like somebody else has joined. So hello, hopefully you're still there. I can't tell if you're still there or not, but I hope you are. If you're there, please say hi. So yeah, for some reason, Demon Souls, it loads, but it doesn't get beyond this. And it's been so long since I played Demon Souls on my PS3, I can't remember how quickly it loaded from there. Like I say, it looks like it's a loading screen because it looks like it's moving. You can see it's not frozen. So that I'm not 100% certain about. But before we get any further, whenever I get my first message, so whoever's on, if you're on right now, say hi, and we'll go to the subscriber giveaway. Now, John had won the subscriber giveaway. I reached out to him and he said while he would appreciate the gesture because he's happy to win, but ultimately he decided to pass it on to somebody else. So I have removed him from obviously this member giveaway, and we'll be doing the 1,000 member giveaway, which was his giveaway, and the 2,000 subscriber giveaway tonight. As soon as somebody says something in the chat, we'll break to that. So hopefully somebody says something so I can break to that. But in the meantime, again, I'm not sure about Demon Souls, why it's taking so long. All right, so, and then I installed games like Zombie U, but I'm having trouble getting Zombie U to show. So I'm not sure why that is. I'm just trying to think of everything that I can think of here. Now let's, I mean, we can work there, of course, but I am not sure. So while I guess we're waiting on somebody to say hello for the member giveaway to take place tonight, or the subscriber giveaway. I always call it member giveaway. You'd be surprised how many times I have to do a retake in my videos because I say member and I don't want it to sound weird. So I have to redo it in my head and I say subscriber giveaway. And then I a sentence later say member giveaway again, have to stop myself and say, you just said member again, stop, Nick, repeat. And then kind of do the mental and action. And then repeat my sentence. And subscriber giveaway. So you want to be subscribed, not a member, a subscribed. So the joys of editing. Anyways, so let's go back. And let's see, what other consoles do we have? I like that each time it's showing us different ones, you know, kind of cool. All right, so one of the things that I have done too is it's not something you have to do because any, for example, Super Nintendo emulator can play Japanese games, European games, and North American games. But I've actually separated them out. And the reason I did that for all three is, you know, generally they'll have their own box arts. But for example, on the original Nintendo, there is the Nintendo Entertainment Center or system, the NES, NES, depending on where you're from, and the Famicom, the Nintendo Family Computer. Now, the Family Computer is what was released in Japan. In Europe and North America, we received the Nintendo Entertainment System. The reason this is important is by default, for example, if you have a Nintendo ROM called Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 2 will think it's the international version that you can play as Princess Peach or Toad or Mario or Luigi. But the Japanese version of Super Mario Brothers 2 is different. It looks a lot like Super Mario Brothers the original, but is more difficult. And what we played as Super Mario Brothers 2 in the rest of the world is actually a different game in Japan with different characters. They just put a different skin on them for the international audience. So obviously I have two versions of Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese version and the North American version. So what I do is I tell it to scrape all of the box art and metadata for the Japanese Super Mario 2 here. And then on this one, I tell it, now give me all the box art and metadata, which is this data here and rating of the game when it was released, all of that stuff. Tell it to give me that for North America. That way, I get the two different versions of Super Mario Brothers 2 on my system, and it makes it easy to see them. And you can even see kind of the rating here, how many Nintendo games I have, how many Famicom games I have. That's, like I said, I have a ton. So I did the same thing with Super Nintendo, because again, the same could have been true for Super Nintendo for other games. So there's that. And yes, I still remember getting the Virtual Boy, and I believe I had the tennis game. Let's go in there. I had received the tennis. I remember the tennis very well. And I had received another game too. Trying to remember what it was. I think it might have been Roboxer, because that looks familiar too, from my childhood when it first came out. So my very first console ever that was truly Phoenix handheld, well, not handheld, but Phoenix console, not for somebody else, but it was a Christmas gift, was the Virtual Boy. And then the first actual home console that was truly mine was the original PlayStation, the PlayStation 1, my first year of high school. Do you remember what your first console was? Say it down in the comments, whether you're watching this live or later. What was your first console? I'd always be interested in what did people play first? What was their first love? So we got Wii U here. Okay, so this one says I have Zombie U, so let's try Zombie U. That is what Kipka had requested. Okay, so yeah, it's not wanting to play Zombie U. I am not sure why. As I said, I can't play the ROMs for Nintendo IP because Nintendo will not like it. So let me bring up my dual screen again, and let's bring up both screens. Pop that on, thank you. All right, and then let's go back to CMU, ESPN. All right, let's get that screen a little bit brighter. There we go. See if I can't get it to work for us. Oftentimes this game will work for us, so yeah, there we go. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with this is oftentimes a lot of the games for the Wii U just shared the same screen, but you got lucky occasionally. Some games would show something different on the Wii U pad versus on the TV screen. So in this case, you can tell that there is something different here. It's quite similar, but see if I can't actually do it. Back. Easy. Yeah, okay. See, I can never figure out the way that I want this to, how it wants me to do this. But it is a different screen at least. It's just that friendly N company at its finest. Let's see if I can't do tennis maybe. Let's do a tennis match. Let's see. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's play a little sports connection. Okay, so let me, okay, there it is. So it is kind of nice that you have your own, oops, net. Separate screen. .40, love. If you know the naming conventions of tennis, when the other, well, one of the players hasn't scored, when you say their score, you say love. Very gentlemanly. Instead of just proclaiming them to be losing, it's 40 love, 30 love, 15 love. Or it could be love 15. So what do you think of this ESPN derived, oops, sports game? Oof, so much easier to do on the other one. Might lose this set here. Let's see. There we go. Making a comeback. Is anyone still watching live? I'm hoping somebody is, so that way we can, after this game, go to the drawings for the 1,000 and the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Sadly, nobody new has joined the website. I checked right before going live, so instead of having 2,000 people to choose from, I only have about 15 people to choose from, plus or minus. So again, to qualify for a subscriber giveaway, you have to subscribe obviously to the YouTube channel, then also currently to the website, penix-handhelds.com. And that's because I can't private message people, and I don't want to let scam bots in and people think that's the way to go. So I'm not going to say you won in the chat. There'll always be a private message. And as of now, that's through the website. Again, if we decide to go to the Discord server route, I'm happy to go that route and create a Discord server for us. If we feel like we can have an active community / active family, since, you know, that's why I say, hey fam, because the idea is we're all like family here. Hey, I won. Can you believe it? So if we decide to go Discord server, I'm happy to go that way. But until then, it would be through the website. And obviously anyone that's already signed up through the website, if they want to sign up for the Discord server, absolutely. But that won't be a requirement for them because they will be grandfathered in, shall we say. So John, you could win again even if you don't sign up for the Discord server. And the winner of the 500 subscriber giveaway did receive his coffee cup today. Felipe did. He hasn't sent it to me yet, but I'll be happy to share it with you if he shares it with me while I'm live. But he said it came in great condition. The difference was, if you remember from my mug, here I can just grab it while we're talking here. So I got him a mug that's a little bit different than mine. And if you chose a mug because you won and you said you wanted a mug, you could choose yours as well. So in general, the coffee mug will look like this. For him, I chose an entirely black body, inside and outside black, and then of course the Penix Handhelds logo on it. You could choose that, or you could choose a white one like I have, and then they offer either a white handle, black handle, red handle, blue handle, I believe. So if you wanted a custom handle with a white background, you could do that as well. But he said his head came in great condition, so I hope that it came looking like this, because I think it looks really sharp like this. And again, if you win, another option would be this very fine desk mat. Not this particular one, but one like this that is very high quality, woven in. It's not a sticker with the Penix logo on it, just like this. But of course, you choose what size your desk is, and I have it shipped to you that way. And of course, the other way is a flash drive that on one end is USB-A and on the other side is USB-C. So regardless of the device you're using, you'll have connectivity options. I'm trying to think here. If you're in Thailand, I could send you or I could send you or give you, depending on if you're here in Bangkok, the Ayaneo desk mat or mouse pad that I had gotten with the Ayaneo Pocket DS here. What is the other giveaway? I feel like there's another thing that I'm not thinking of. Sorry, my mind is going blank. Oh, t-shirt, where the controller part of the logo would be on the left chest area, and then the whole logo would be on the back, if you wanted to. Again, it would be all up to you if you win, but I'm waiting to give it away until at least one person jumps on the live chat and says, good morning from Boston, or good evening from Sydney, something. I don't know. I'm just waiting for some interaction here. All right, so let's go back here. Okay. see if this works. I don't know if this will work, but I hope so. Yeah, it does. All right, good. So yeah, I've never seen the chat be this quiet. So I hope somebody's watching live. Somebody can say hi so we can go to the subscriber giveaway for the next 2 events. Because again, John turned down his free gift and said he wanted to pass it on to somebody else. So who am I to say no? And heck, if you're here, then you can say yes. And tell me what you want right now, and I'll put in the order for it for you. You know, one of the things that I got thinking here too is if you've ever seen the NES games like Super Mario, they were quite basic. And then from Super Mario, we went to the 16-bit era because Super Mario was part of the 8-bit CPU era. And we, as you can see, we had a gigantic leap in abilities, in sound and fidelity. So when I was a kid, we saw this generational leap and we were like, wow. And then we went to the next generation and we got the original PlayStation, the Nintendo 64. And we were like, holy cow, look at this generational leap. All right. So in our mind, those people of my generation, and if you grew up not as part of my generation, but you grew up with older consoles slowly over the years that maybe your parents had grown up with, you would understand this too. But so we had this huge generational leaps. So this is where Sony and Microsoft have come into a bit of a conundrum. They can't give those kind of generational leaps now. Games are already taking between 3 and 10 years to develop, depending on the game. If you're talking about something like Grand Theft Auto 6, for example, and also the Cyberpunk 2077, I think it is. They took forever for development, and they should have taken even longer, but they knew they had to push it out the door. Whereas games on the Super Nintendo era took a month for one person to create. If it was a big game like Super Mario, there might have been a team of a few people, and they might have taken a couple months to do it, but it was overall really easy. And then Super Nintendo, then you're talking a few months, 3 to 6 months for a game. PS1, then we started getting into having AAA games, taking like a year to develop for. Well, again, these games like Final Fantasy VII were extremely detailed, which is why we had a remake in PS4 and PS5 of Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, but Final Fantasy VII. Incredibly detailed. And I mean, you think about it, back then, it took them probably about a year to develop that game, and they had a crew of maybe 20 people. Now a AAA game. And they say there's even a quad A game, quad A games now, like Grand Theft Auto 6 is, they are hoping to be a quad A game, which would be the best of the best tier right now. Officially, the best of the best tier is AAA. But those games will have like 1,000 or more people on it for years, right? You're talking, they'll have people doing the development of the game, like Grand Theft Auto 6. They could be on that game for 6 or 7 years, right? So talk about 1,000 people. So we talk about the cost of games, but really, if you think about the cost of games, it's amazing that they are as cheap as they are today, because there are so many more people involved for so much more time for the vast majority of games, that, and the salaries are a lot higher now than they were in the Super Nintendo or original Nintendo time span. So the fact that we're paying double what we paid 30 plus years ago is pretty crazy. Don't get me wrong, it still hurts the pocketbook to buy games, but it's pretty crazy. Is there still nobody here right now? Nobody that can say hi to finally move to the subscriber giveaway? I hope that the video quality and everything's good. Tonight I'm trying it a little differently. Normally I connect my phone directly to the device with a USB cable, but it just launched without me needing to do the USB cable, so I don't know if the video quality is the same. I hope that it is. You'll have to again tell me. But as far as I can see, I mean, it says I'm only using 2.2% of my CPU for this stream, so not much. It says I am getting 60 frames per second, so that's good. Doesn't tell me if it is 4K like it's supposed to be without the USB cable, but is anyone there? Can you say hello to me, please? And that way we can begin the subscriber giveaway. Make sure you say it in the live chat because I can't see the regular chat. I'm sorry. The live chat is the only chat that I can see currently. So you might have to exit out of the chat if you're in the main chat and you've already said hello. I apologize. I can't see that. But if you scroll to the right on that part where you can select to leave a comment, you'll see it for the live chat. That's where I need you to say hello to me so I can know that you're there and we can begin the subscriber giveaways. Still nothing? Okay. So with that in mind, let's just take a look to see what we got here. Now Neo Geo, even though it came out in 1999, or 1990, sorry, not 1999, 1990, you'll notice from the videos that it plays that the games look really good. And that's because the Neo Geo, first and foremost, was an arcade console. They were in arcades, arcade box. So their games, back then, the arcades were more powerful than consoles. And what they did is they actually put the innards of the arcade console into a home console, and then they launched it. So it was actually the most powerful console. Not a lot of people owned a Neo Geo, but those that did loved it because they were more powerful than that, and you were getting true arcade games in the home rather than home console games. For example, Super Mario World, a great Super Nintendo game, but definitely was not in the arcades. Whereas these, you can see, were actually arcade games. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Since I have a quiet chat tonight. Oh, hey, we got Ice Cream Buds here. I'm doing well. I hope that you're doing well as well. So we got our first person. Sadly, I don't know if it's you, but I don't think you have subscribed on Phoenix-handhelds.com yet. They're Ice Cream Buds, but I have everyone that has, and we're going to do the subscriber giveaway now. As I mentioned earlier, if you're watching this later, you would know it. John passed on his opportunity for a member giveaway, so I told him that we'll redo it tonight. So we're going to do live streams every Wednesday as always, and we're going to, as per Ethan's suggestion, we're going to do the subscriber giveaway on the live streams. So I figured out how to do this. So we'll begin with the first, and then we'll go over the second. So John had won the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and this was supposed to be the 2,000 subscriber giveaway, but we're going to do both of them tonight. Obviously, one for going to do two drawings or two selections, and then I'll reach out to those people, unless it happens to be you, Ice Cream Bud, and and I'll reach out to them if they're not here on the live stream, which probably not. and we'll go from there to see what they're going to select. But as I mentioned, the person that won the 500 subscriber giveaway, Felipe, said he has received his black mug. So think of this mug, but the entire thing inside and out all black, and then the PNX logo on it. Should look really nice. He said it did, and it arrived in great condition to him in Switzerland. So I think that is awesome, and hopefully we can get some more giveaways going. Like I say, next week we will have the 3,000 subscriber giveaway, and as promised, you're only disqualified from a subscriber giveaway for the following 3 subscriber giveaways, which now will be happening at every 1,000 subscriber mark. So the person that qualified for won the first one, which was at 100 subscribers a few months ago, he won that, and I sent him a desk mat. He was in England and arrived in great condition based on the size of his desk again. So again, I customized the gift to your needs, and so he chose the desk mat, got it, took a picture of it, looks great. But I digress. We have two gifts to give away. So let me try to bring this guy up here, see if it works as I remember. All right. If you are still there, Ice Cream Buds, let me know with a thumbs up or yeah, or give me hearts or some reaction or something so we can do the first spin. All right, well, either way, let's just go ahead and do the spin and see what we get now that we've had at least our first comment of the night. All right. So this one is for John, who had turned down his, so I've taken him off. All right. So Fern, who is here in Thailand, was one of my first subscribers. Fern, thank you. You're awesome. So Fern is the first giveaway winner here. Let's go to our next one. Well, you'll qualify for next week's one for sure, buddy. And as I'd mentioned, if I've been throwing around the idea to get more people involved, because as you can see, the wheel of names here is rather small. I was thinking about creating a Discord server and changing the requirement from signing up for the website to signing up for the Discord server and sending me a message on Discord, a private message, of course, saying what your username is on Facebook, or not Facebook, wow, on YouTube, so I can verify your subscription and go from there. So you can let me know what you think. And like I say, we can incorporate that decision into next week. Of course, anyone like John or Fern or the original winner, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now, but I can look on my list and see it. They would obviously be grandfathered in if we go to Discord. I just want us to have the best possible community. So, all right. So Fern won the first one, the 1,000 subscriber giveaway that was re-gifted by John. So I will be in communication with you, Fern. We'll remove you. Now the list is a bit smaller once again, but that's all right. Let's spin the wheel again. And actually, let's just refresh the page so we get the nice spinning wheel before I do anything here. All right, so Fern is tonight's first winner. Oh, and Jesse, also one of my first subscribers on YouTube, won. So awesome. I think I know what he will like because I know Jesse very well on a personal level, and he is a coffee guy, so I'm sure that he'll go with the coffee mug. But you never know. So we'll go with 1,000. So, you know, I am remembering here 2,000 Jesse. So that is awesome. And yes, that's only 2,000. Now remember, we are currently at almost 6,000. So next week we'll do the 3,000 spin. The following week we'll do the 4,000 spin. The following week we'll do the 3, 4, 5,000, and then the following week the 6,000 spin. So because I'm sure we'll get to 6,000 as quickly as the numbers are growing, well before, what, 4 weeks from now? At least I hope so. And heck, if by 5 weeks from now we're at 7,000, we'll do a 7,000 spin. So yes, absolutely. Good luck to everyone for future giveaways. There we go. Hopefully those are some seamless transitions. My first time changing screen on a live stream. Well, ever really. I've never changed screen even on a video. Other than, I guess I have, but those are all screenshots that I splice into my videos. Now, Ice Cream Buds, what's your opinion? Do you think we should stick to the website? Like, say, the nice thing about the website is I don't send out a newsletter. I don't send out any communication to you other than, hey, if you've won, you've won. If but nothing else comes from me, no spam or anything like that. Do you think it should stay on the website, or do you think it should go to Discord? And I'm glad to see I'm getting some hearts. I appreciate that. You know, again, I want us all to be, hopefully, build a community where we're all like gaming handheld family, and we can come to each other if we need help with anything. And that's why I thought of maybe the Discord server might be more readily available, because people would be more willing to share rather than like on a YouTube channel in the comments. They might be more willing to chat with each other on Discord. So I tried creating the forum on the website, but again, I think maybe forum is a bit too old of tech for the average person. So maybe it's just not something that's ideal to them. But there is that. Okay, let's go. I guess I can go back there. N64. Yeah, I'm just not writing articles as much as I was because I got burned out trying to write at least one article a day plus creating all of the video content. Like I say, maybe whenever I get bigger in the future, I'll be able to get back to it and have somebody that writes the content for me. But of course, that's whenever I'm as big as Russ or maybe TechDweed, because they are much bigger channels, and I'm still not making a penny from YouTube because I still don't have enough watch hours. So please watch lots of my videos so I can get the watch hour up, so then I can qualify for monetization, because I have enough subscribers for monetization to finally start making a little bit of money from my videos. But right now, you know, I spend $630 for this, and I spend $500 for this and the accessory bundle, and it's all just a write-off for me. I don't have an incorporated business, so I can't use it as a business expense because Thailand's not that easy for foreigners, unfortunately. And yeah, it is what it is. But so I can't do anything like that. So literally every device that I've reviewed other than the TrimUI brick hammer as of now has been 100% paid for by me. And I've reviewed how many devices now? 40, 45? And more on the way, because I will be reviewing a new device next week. I can't say specifically which one, but you know, I'll be reviewing something next week. And then after that, I have the Miu Mini Flip to review, still sitting in a box. And then at some point, I will be getting the new Odin 3, and I'll be getting the new Ayaneo Pocket Fit. Again, both top spec devices. So again, almost $1,000 that I've had to pay for. So monetization sooner rather than later would be great to pay some of the bills. And because my credit card isn't liking taking all of these expenses. But that's all right. It's the cost of establishing a channel, and I get that. But I definitely look forward to all of these new devices and bringing them to you and giving you my honest opinions. And again, every opinion is always valid. And I do not begrudge anyone for having their opinion. You know, some people don't think the same way I do about a handheld, and that's okay. So, Ice Cream Buds, what do you think of tonight's ESDE theme? I think it's pretty sharp overall. Okay, let's see. Oh, buddy, you got that right. It's a very expensive time of year, especially for me. Yeah, I thought about getting the G2, but that's another one that I've ordered. Is the Retroid Pocket 6. And again, if you've watched any of my channels, you would know I'm a parallel stick guy. So I went with the same configuration that the Retroid Pocket 5 has because I like the parallel sticks. But I'm glad they give us the option for the offset sticks. Because again, customization and personalization is one of the things I love about handhelds. And I can't think of anyone else that has allowed the direct modification of it without needing external bits and bobs. For example, Ayaneo 3, yes, you had the panels that you could flip it around and you could change up the D-pad and that type of thing, but that required extra hardware. Whereas this one, whenever you order it, you can just say, I want myself to have offset sticks or parallel sticks to meet my gaming needs. But I appreciate that. Yeah. Like I say, I try to change the theme on the videos for each video to give people an idea, especially if they're not familiar with ESDE yet. If they haven't had their first handheld, I want them to see that you can really just make it look completely different, live stream to live stream, without much work. The nice thing is they make it very easy with the UI settings to quickly change your themes around. And you still get, I love having the metadata. I love looking at the metadata and reading like the synopsis of the game and whatnot. So to me, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's see here. Jet Force Gemini. While you're here, is there a game on retro console that you'd like to see played? Yeah, I just couldn't justify getting a G2 and a 6. So I had thought about the G2 because it's a net new chipset versus obviously we know what's happening with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. But I thought the larger model number, you know, the 6th version, shall we say, would catch more eyes and more viewers than G2 would for a review. So that's why I went with the 6. And plus I already have the 5 and it's the exact same chassis. And that's why I had hoped that the 6 would actually stay the original chassis, because I liked having the different look where the buttons were actually underneath the screen, which I thought would give us more hand space compared to the 5, because I felt with the 5 you really needed the grip for it to be more comfortable. So I was hoping for that extra little bit of vertical real estate for more hand space. But alas, the masses did not agree with me, and Retroid listened to them. What was it? Jet. Where do you hail out of, if I may ask, Ice Cream Buds? Thailand is my fourth country. I've lived in the US, Canada, Chile, and now Thailand. Put a dash in there. And then they couldn't do QWERTY, could they? Unique. I mean, for N64, I remember looking at graphics like this and thinking, well, how are they going to get much better than this? Of course, people's mouths not moving and all of that made it seem a bit funny, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? Is I have to decide if I want to continue doing long-term reviews, because coming back and doing a review 6 months later means I still need to hold on to the device or buy it again. But I've so far held on to every device that I have reviewed, and they start piling up. So, yeah, I might have to decide on that, and that's where the long-term review of the Odin 2 Portal is important to me, to see the market for long-term reviews and see if it's still worth it. Yeah. Which color did you get? I got the bee duck purple version, which is of course the most expensive one, sadly. Sadly to my wallet. Thought about the aesthetics of what would look best on camera. I didn't think about that for this, or else I would have got the yellow one. But I couldn't help it, because this color to me screams PlayStation, even though you have the original Nintendo kind of controller buttons. This gray resembles the original PlayStation, and I loved that it matched the shell more versus the yellow had a black lid. So I'm glad that the lid matches. But that was my rationale. Normally, my rationale is what's different than what I've frequently reviewed and what will pop on a camera, which is why I try to stay away from black devices, even though I wouldn't mind a black device in person. For my personal purposes, most people don't want to see that on camera. They want to see something that stands out. So usually I try to choose ones that are different but stand out, which is why For example, my clamshell handhelds, they were all different colors. Of course, this is an N64 game, so it is not hard at all for this machine to handle. N64. Yeah, that's something you'd have to check with them about if it wouldn't affect shipping. I was really drawn to the yellow one, as far as, again, the contrast, but again, since the purple was a solid purple, it wouldn't be the same as the purple of the Thor, so I figured that would be enough contrast. And with the Odin 3, I got the transparent blue, so that way I'll have a blue Thor, or blue Odin 2, or Odin 3, wow, and a purple Thor, so I can compare the transparent shells. Yeah, see, that's the dangerous part, is you venture into those colorful devices and they can start to grow on you. Did you put in an order for the new TrimUI Smart Pro 2? I ordered the red one, and again, that one I was being selfish because red is my favorite color, and I thought it would look good on camera, so I went with the red TrimUI Smart Pro 2. Okay, so Ethan, there you go. There is Jet Force Gemini. Double tap, start and select, or tap, start and select at the same time to close it. Of course, that's a setting you can change in the settings of RetroArch. Oh, Brainbeat, you're here too. Hey, bud. It's going good. How are you doing? Get a blank. Yeah. As long as it's an OLED panel, it makes it look the best. IPS displays, you can still see the gray tinge to the black screens. So to me, I would rather see another color on an IPS display, but definitely for OLED makes sense because the blacks just disappear. There, Brainbeat, sadly you didn't win. I don't think you've signed up for the website either. And I had pondered whether we should create the Discord server to make it easier for people to join rather than having them go on the website, so that way I can know who they are. But Fern and Jesse, two people I actually know personally. Fern goes to my church, and funnily enough, actually, Jesse is a coffee-loving pastor, and he was my pastor back in Canada. So when I told him I was creating YouTube, both of them were two of the first people to join. So I appreciate that. They do watch. Now, they're not super tech savvy, so this is all new to them, but I'm glad that they were willing to join in, and they watch some of my videos and comment, and I appreciate that. So they will be able to choose their gift. Don't forget, next week will be subscriber giveaway 3,000. Next week, the following week will be subscriber number 4,000 giveaway. The following week will be 5,000, and the following week will be 6,000, assuming that my channel continues to grow. So sign up for phoenix-handhelds.com. And if you could be bothered, send me a message on there through the live chat feature on the website and just say, hey, PNIC, this is Brainbeat, for example, on YouTube. I just subscribed to your channel. That way I can see the name that you signed up for on the website, and then I can add you to the wheel of names to hopefully have you win a prize next week or the following week. So that said, there was Ethan's Jet Force Gemini on N64. Johnny Gamer 69 requested Killer Instinct, and either one of you two, if you want to request a game that you can either watch tonight or another time, feel free to ask for it. So let's go Killer Instinct. The instinct that you need not ask about. We'll go with Killer Instinct Gold. KI2. Or KI Gold. Another rare word game. Yeah, that's why I say so. Super close to 6K already, and like I say, it'll just continue growing. So heck, if I got to 100,000, I'll still be giving them away on 1,000 basis. So that'd be a lot of giveaways, but I'm happy to do that as my thank you for people choosing to follow my channel, so, and watch my videos. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Can't tell that they copied a little bit of Mortal Kombat, can you? Mutual. Oh, she's gonna beat me. She did. Bite her, bite her. You got natural knives on you, basically. Beat her up. Oof. Oh, she got me. There's some Killer Instinct, working flawlessly. Killer Instinct Gold. Actually, let's just go back. Okay. So there's that. All right, Brainbeat had requested, so let's back up. Oops, not that. Hold on one second. PSP. The blog, which, like I say, I don't send any, there's not a newsletter or anything like that. Just right as soon as you load phoenix-handhelds.com, part of my logo just below it, there's a box that says sign up or sign in. Just click on that and then sign up through that. Like I say, I tried making it as easy as possible, but that's why I've thought maybe should reconsider maybe just having a Discord server. Make it easy for everyone. Okay, let me just try. And PPSSPP. All right. Let me see. I'm just going to check this out. Is that any better? Unloaded, okay. There we go. Let's go in here. 1080p, Vulkan backend. Let's just try some texture upscalers. Why not? This should be able to handle it, right? So 16x. FPS counter on. Yes. Continue. Eight X for fun? Sure. We can do that. Why not, right? Settings. Oops, graphics. 4K, why not? See what we get. Oops, okay. Come on. Okay. All right, hold on. There we go. All right, so we're at 4K. Yep. I don't know if you can see the frame rate, but it's holding steady as far as I can see around 60. Does look like it kind of has a little bit of a haze to it over things. I'm trying to figure out what that setting would be, but if you have any idea, let me know. Yeah, and we're holding steady between 59 and 61 frames per second. So I think definitely should look good video out to your TV. Oop. Yes, yes. Ah. So stuck around 60, like say 59, 61 in that ballpark. There is kind of a haze around the characters are not so sharp. I'm not sure what that setting would be. Try that. Maybe that'll help. Okay, let's try that. Again, I don't know if the frame rates are showing always, but between 58 and 62. Of course, Monsieur Archer. So yes, I think safe to say something even like God of War upscaled to 8K from 1080p looks really good and stays rock solid for a lot of fun. This thing has the Snapdragon G3X Gen 2, I believe it is. If you're still there, Ice Cream Buds, I'm sure you would know. That's what I believe it is, 3X Gen 2, which is basically as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but it's been designed obviously with having active cooling in mind, whereas the 8 Gen 2 was not. So it's able to sustain power for longer periods of time. All right, let's try some Switch games. We can definitely do that as long as they're not IP of that friendly company that begins with an N. Let's see here. Can't play those, not on camera at least. They don't like those being played. So we could do Biohazard 4, aka Resident Evil 4. Looks good. Or we could do Final Fantasy VII, The Zodiac Age. Those would probably be the newest ones that I can play on camera without worrying about the big boys at end coming at me. Do you have a preference if you are still there? BBGK1F? While I'm waiting for a response there, I'll bring up the command center here, see the frame rate, see how much of everything is being utilized. If you wish, of course, change your layout. If you wish to, of course, do key mapper if you're doing like Android games. Choose dark mode or not. Of course, ultra dim if you want to be ultra dim. So they give you a lot here. And then this is where you can choose what screen you want to be displaying. Do you want to display both screens, just the top screen, just the bottom screen? And I can't read that one. But the trick is, whereas the AYN Thor, they were able to trick Android to believing the bottom screen was displaying 120 hertz to make it where the top screen could while the bottom screen was active. Just gave you kind of a jitter whenever you would actually be using the bottom screen if you were doing it at the same time. Whereas this, it's capable of up to 165 hertz on the top screen, but the bottom screen is only 60 hertz. And they haven't done any tricking to Android, so if you have both on, you're only getting 60 hertz. In order to get the full 120, 144, or 165 FPS, you have to turn off the bottom screen. It's the only way to do it. But I'm not getting a response, so we'll go back to Biohazard. AKA Resident Evil. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but they do have the FPS here in red. All right, I am going to turn off the bottom screen for now. Oop, just so I know that it's getting everything out of it that it can. But yeah, so most devices, most games that you're playing on this from the secret console. That's what this is, the secret console, because Big N still gets very protected. Why is it not recognizing my button presses though? That I can't tell you. All right, controls. Controller 1, connected, Pro Controller. Automapper. Yes, automap that please. Let's see how well they've done. For some reason that's really dark now. the screen. Maybe I just have to come through. I'm not sure why it's so dark now. Just for giggles, let's go back. Maybe it didn't like I was changing things around. So that's before we launch. Connected Pro Controller. Yes, Automat. Okay, let's try that. Come on, Eden. All right, have a good night. Thanks for joining. Chat with you later. So, secret console. There we go. This is the Japanese build, not the North American build. It's funny how they still said 4 in English and Biohazard. I don't know. I just think it's hilarious.
Never forget it. It was the year when those grisly murders occurred in the Arclay Mountain.
There we go. Still buffering everything, loading all the shaders. So it's at 15 frames per second right now. But it should catch up as the system finishes up its reading here. Okay, let's see here. Graphics. Okay. I am not sure why it's slower right now. It usually runs much faster than this. Okay, I think it's catching up, but I'm not sure. Let's try using. Oh, still not jumping up very much. Sure, you can tell. Usually this runs at 30 to 60 frames per second. Why is it not now? Might need to put in additional stuff here. Let's get our latest drivers here. Okay. There we go. See what those drivers do for us. So the nice thing about Eden, as you can see, is it has a list of drivers that you can have, and showed me the most recent one by Mr. Purple, which he makes some good drivers. Still not as fast as I would like it to see it, but it is a bit faster. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit faster as it's continuing to build out the shaders. Now we're at 25, 27, 30. Now it's catching up. Good to see. So it has a bit of slowdowns. Darn secret console. So I guess I'll exit out of Eden for now. Okay. You guys are awfully quiet tonight. Okay, and then dual screen, bring on the second screen. All right, so as I mentioned in my previous one of the interesting things is, for example, Melon DS for DS games. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? See, it's not loading it, and it really confused me at first. But when I click on something else like Chrome, then it opens up the second screen. And yes, I do have a nice little thing here, a nice little shader here to give it the original LCD look of the DS. So DS looks great. Citra MMJ is good for 3DS. Again, as long as I have something open like a browser, 9 times out of 10 it opens. So if you buy this device and you have DS and 3DS games, you can see this much better quality here than what the 3DS version was, because the 3DS had a much better screen. And it was still popular when it came out, so they made it again, which I don't blame them. But what I'm saying though is, so if you buy this for 3DS and DS emulation, it's a great machine, and it'll handle both of those consoles without batting an eye, and you can have a lot of fun with it. But the Thor, unless you're in the TCC, the Thor Command Center, just natively loaded the second screen without any issue. I had both screens going. With this one, the only way I figured it out is I had everything set up the way I thought should be set up, and I couldn't figure it out. So I went to Russ's page, Retro Game Core, for his guide on setting up DS devices like this. And because I opened up the browser, then it opened up the second screen. And I'm like, what happened here? So that is the answer to that, is I accidentally figured out how to do it. Don't know why it wanted to be persnickety like that, but Alas, it was. So that's kind of, like say, 9 times out of 10, that's the secret. Launch it. Of course, you have to set up the dual screens in the settings. But after you do that, then, like say, open a web browser or whatever, and your second screen loads. Why it does not automatically load when I'm on the other screen, when I'm on the screen to be able to select the applications. Why is it not there now? It's just a little bit of difficulty to use, especially for someone that's not tech savvy. I would definitely recommend someone that's okay at getting around Android and wants DS and 3DS emulation, unless you got to have a bigger screen, go for the Thor. It's a bit easier to use. If you don't mind tinkering with things, you don't mind getting the little bit of frustrations that 1 time out of 10 when clicking on the browser doesn't open up your second screen, and you just have to try it a few times until you get it to finally trigger the way you want it to trigger, this is a really good device too. Just remember, this has an OLED on the top and an LCD on the bottom, whereas the Thor has 2 OLEDs. Granted, smaller OLEDs, but OLEDs on both screens. And with this comfort grip, it feels really good, but it has a flat bottom, so it's kind of uncomfortable to hold at first, whereas this natively comes with ergonomic grips. So it makes it a bit more comfortable to hold in the hand. Like I said, I'm thinking about all of this stuff because tomorrow I'm going to write my review and record it for Friday, because today is Wednesday for me, so tomorrow will be Thursday for me, Thursday night. Okay. And they don't make it easy to... There we go. All right, so I've got my fresh little logo there. What do you think? I think my logo looks pretty sharp on this. Of course, it's kind of hard to see because the camera wants to overexpose things, but I think it looks pretty sharp, especially on an OLED. Looks really good in person. And then, of course, you can key map for games like Zenless and Genshin that don't have true native controller support. And for games like Horizon that do have controller support, you can play controller games and they look fantastic. Let's see if I can win a race tonight. Since everybody's being quiet, we'll just go with Sequoia National Park. My first time in Sequoia National Park. Playing a nice looking Android game. Beat him out of the way. Get out of the way. Oops. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Almost hit the turn signs there. Which I think it's unfair that the computer can drive over them, but we hit them and we spin out. But I guess that's kind of their way of trying to balance things out. This game is a lot of fun, whether you're playing it on a handheld like this or you're playing it on your phone. Definitely a lot of fun. First prize, all right. Okay, so there's old Horizon Chase. Just checking to see if there's anybody else, any other messages. Nothing. All right. It shows that there's been 20 unique viewers watching it live, and I appreciate each one of you for the time that you took out of your day to watch it live. I wish more, of course, would watch, but again, always personal preference, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Get back into ESDE. Now remember, next week I'll be reviewing a different device. I can't officially say what device it is yet, you know, out of respect and all. But, you know, I think it's important to let you guys know what's happening on my channel. So, you know, there you go. Yeah, so let's see here. Yes, I'm a nerd that likes sports, so that's why you see sports games on there. But I also have fond memories. I remember reading about Indigo Prophecy before it came out and then playing it. Of course, pre-ordered it, waited in line at midnight at GameStop to buy it. And this got me in love with David Cage, the creator. Probably pronounced differently because I believe he is French, but I digress. He is a great storyteller. If you've never played his games, David Cage wrote Indigo Prophecy, aka Fahrenheit if you're in Europe. He created Think LA Noire, if I can remember correctly. May or may not be correct. I have a couple of his games up in there for the PS3. Heavy Rain, if you ever played Heavy Rain. The robot game. Oh, my mind is drawing a blank. With the now Ethan Page actor, Ellen Page, prior voice acting in it. What is that game called? Two Souls or something like that. I can't remember. But he and Hideo Kojima, in my opinion, and again, this is my humble opinion, are the two best story creators. And I know people may love the open worldness of GTA and those games, and they do have fantastic stories. But these are a bit more narrowly focused games. Hideo Kojima's games and David Page's games, or David Cage's, I said Page. David Cage's games are more linear. Of course, he does a lot. David does more RTAs, real-time actions. So you are in charge of your character at a specific scene where maybe you have to push X and then it says push circle and then push triangle and then X again. You have to do it in time or else the guy gets run over and the character dies. For example, in Heavy Rain, there's like 4 different characters that you're trying to navigate through and the story, and you'll get a different story each time you play the game, because if one of your characters dies, then that part of that story dies because they all interact at some point in the story. But if you let one of them die first, then another part of the story disappears because maybe one of the characters is a cop and is going to catch one of the other characters. But if that cop dies, then that character can't be caught. And when that character can't be caught, then that part of the story, whenever he's caught, can't be told. And maybe by him being caught, then he's not by the police, he's not caught by somebody else. So David Cage makes very intricate, interwoven stories. So I seriously doubt David Cage would ever watch this video, let alone Hideo Kojima, because they are two of the greatest storytellers. But if either one of you do, find my channel and watch this video. I just want to say thank you personally, because you guys made me continue to have love for video games into my teens and 20s because of the great stories you created. If you're someone that's never played one of their games, perhaps my friend Ethan, who's younger than me, I don't know if you ever played Fahrenheit/Indigo Prophecy, but I do know that the device that I'm going to be using next week you have, and I do know it should be able to play it. So, Ethan, if you're watching this, download Indigo Prophecy from your servers, of course, because I'm sure you might not have played it, but your dad did, and you've burned all of his games. That's the way it is, right? You've burned all of his games. So find the image of your dad's games of Indigo Prophecy/Fahrenheit and play it. That's the only way I can say legitimately you should get your games, is burning them from there. I'm not going to tell you how I got my games, but most of my games actually came from other handhelds. But this, like I said, I waited in line until midnight for. So if you're looking for a real-time, quick action game that has a great story, this. And then if you get a handheld that can handle Heavy Rain on PS3 and LA Noire, go with those games. They look fantastic on those consoles. But for PS2, this game may not be as good. Metal Gear Solid probably looks a little bit better, but so I can't lie, Metal Gear Solid probably looks a little bit better, but still looks pretty good for PS2, and the storytelling is incredible. And the way that characters interact is amazing. Like say LA Noire, the same way, and Heavy Rain. Those games have such amazing stories. If you've never played them, that's what I would recommend. If you want to get into gaming and you want to be involved in great stories where it's like you're playing a novel or where you're like playing a movie, you want to play David Cage's games. So Google David Cage and get his games. Yes, Cage, C-A-G-E. And Hideo Kojima. Play his Metal Gear Solid games. And when you're playing them and there's a cutscene, let the cutscenes play. That's my biggest advice to you, especially your first time through. Don't try to rush your way through it. Enjoy the story. Because you're not going to find many games that can come close to that level of story that David Cage and Hideo Kojima can create. Now, of course, yes, again, GTA has a great story, but it's different. It's not meant to be fully embraced in this way. Like, you need the story of the cutscenes to truly appreciate everything that's happening in these games. And Metal Gear Solid and this you can absolutely play without the cutscenes, but you lose so much context that it just becomes a game. Whereas what they were trying to create is something that was truly special. So one of the ideas I've tried coming up with is either my favorite per console type of games, where do like a top 10 favorite games of my each console and do that type of thing for you guys, and or top 10 of all time. But I'm going to tell you right now, top 10 of all time, Indigo Prophecy, aka Fahrenheit, is in that top 10 of all time of games that I have honestly played. Now, some games I haven't finished that would be probably in my top 10, like Grand Theft Auto. I enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and I beat those. But did I play every side mission possible? No. Same thing with Elder Scrolls. I played, and again, it's a beautiful story, beautifully done, and lots of hours to play, whereas this has many less hours to play. This is probably a less than 10-hour game, including watching the cutscenes. But that's what makes it so special, is it's a curated experience. And I love the sense of humor David Cage has at the beginning of this game to teach you the controls. So again, my strong recommendation, if you're looking to get into gaming and you want to experience a story, not just button mashing mindlessly, because I mean, yes, you do have to be very quick with your buttons and learn this is the X if you're playing on the PlayStation version, and this is the triangle, this is the circle, this is the square, and get used to that 100%. But you'll get there because it gets more difficult as you go. But this is such an amazing story that I remember months after I finished this game, I still would wake up because I had a dream about this game. That's how good this is. So again, I don't know if anybody's here right now. It doesn't tell me if there's anyone actually live in this channel or if I'm just rambling on and somebody's going to watch later. But I don't care who you are. If you want to have an appreciation for the art of game creation, you have to play David Cage's games and you have to play Hideo Kojima's games with the cutscenes. Enjoy the cutscenes. After that, you can play mindlessly and play it again. Something like this in Heavy Rain, it's great to play again. Because again, you'll get a different story. There's multiple endings. It's not just save the princess, like Mario, right? There are multiple endings that are valid because of your actions in the game. And I just think that's awesome. Now, Hideo Kojima kind of walks you through, and generally the same events will happen, maybe just in a slightly different order because it wants to feel open world, but he's still going to tell the same general story. Whereas this kind of walks you through it, but again, you're controlling multiple characters at different times, and based on your actions will be what the people have experienced. So please trust me and try out David Cage's games. So that's my soapbox moment for the night, is to thank you for that. And remind you, gaming is supposed to be about fun, but it's also supposed to be an experience sometimes. Like Cool Borders 2. I remember renting this. And it's a great game. For snowboarding, quick action games, it's a fantastic game. My friends and I rented it multiple times to experience it. It was a lot of fun. But that's all it is. It's a pick up and play game. And those are fine too. That's part of the great thing about this hobby, is that games are meant to be enjoyed and are meant to be different experiences for different people, right? So I say enjoy all the different genres, but if you want to show somebody what can make a game great, why should you play a game rather than watch a movie? David Cage, Hideo Kojima, they do such intricate work with their cutscenes and the actions leading up to those cutscenes that make it all seem like a movie. And especially with David Cage, because he has such branching out stories that affect each other because they intermix with each other in different ways. It's something that somebody that's not into games could sit next to you and watch you play and enjoy watching you play. You can't say that about a lot of games. Unless, for example, you're playing a football game and they happen to love football. They might enjoy watching you play a football game or a basketball game if they love basketball. I get that. But, for example, my wife is not into sports whatsoever, but I love sports. I grew up playing sports. I grew up watching sports. Everything from the real things like American football and international football, aka soccer, to basketball and baseball. I used to just watch sports or play video games after school, after work, because yes, I started working at 14 years old. I would usually play for an hour or two after work in high school, and then I would watch Sports Center or some live sporting event and fall asleep with Sports Center on. Those were my average days at school or during high school. School, then work for 2 to 4 hours after school, maybe do homework, not very often, honestly, because I wasn't concerned about it. And then come home, play the PlayStation or PlayStation 2, depending on what year of high school it was, for an hour or two, and then watch if there's any sporting event like Monday Night Football going on, watch that, and then watch as Sports Center comes on, and just have it on ESPN, because back then ESPN at night would play Sports Center over and over again, and just fall asleep with Sports Center on usually. So yes, I was a nerd. But we would also watch WWE, you know, and see the Rock and Triple H. Before that, my dad was into WWF and WCW, so we would watch both. Those were the few times that we'd actually spend time with my dad when he wasn't busy with work, was during wrestling pay-per-views. So good memories with that too. But I mean, that's the thing. He raised us to always know that it was fake as far as it was predetermined, but it was real as far as the physical activities that it took. And that's what we always appreciated, is the athleticism of it all and the storytelling of the wrestlers. But I digress. Teaching you little by little about PNIC. Interesting watching this Game Gear game here while it's amazing. She's like in the shower. GG Portrait Pai Chan. And now she's in the bathtub with bubbles. And a rubber ducky next to her. This is this stuff you can't make up. Like they would never get away with a kids style game like this today. That is just hilarious. But you know, that's why I love this hobby and I love retro games. Is there's things that they used to do, like now she's getting ready, doing her hair. Oh Lord. So okay, now we're on a different game. Arkanoid. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, this is part of the nerdy personality of PNIC. Still don't see any other comments, and we're coming up on 9 o'clock. So if in the next minute nobody posts any message to me, I'm going to end the stream at 2 hours. It's been a good 2 hours overall, I think. And I definitely want to thank everyone, for anyone and everyone that's watched this or that is watching this. Because again, without you, my channel is nothing. And I built this channel for everyone. I want to, you know, the reason it's called PNIC is in Thailand, if you add P in front of somebody's name, it means big brother or big sister, big sibling, shall we say, right? So my idea is, that was kind of the concept I had in my mind when I created this channel, is to be the big brother for everyone that's new to the handheld gaming scene, the handheld gaming hobby, as some of us call it. And again, Game Boy Color wrestling game, good stuff. WCW, Goldberg versus Buff Bagwell. That's awesome. But anyways, so that was my idea, though. My concept is to be the big brother of wrestling. So that's who these two characters on my logo are. They're supposed to be my siblings looking at my handheld that I'm showing them. Yeah, so that was my nerdy idea. But again, it doesn't look like anybody's commented, so I'm going to end the stream here. I want to thank you guys again. If you've made it this far, thank you. And for Fern and Jesse, I will be reaching out to you to ask you what you guys would like to win. And of course, I will send you whatever gift that you choose out of the available options. Don't forget to subscribe on the website because, again, we haven't decided yet, but you will be carried over, grandfathered over. If we do move to a Discord server as the option, you'll be carried over to that unless you want to also sign up for the Discord server. I'm hoping we can build this community where it becomes alive and we talk about all of the various handhelds. We talk about tips and tricks with each other. If one of us is having an issue like I did trying to get 3DS and DS games to launch, we can talk together and say, oh yeah, I saw that on Phoenix video, or maybe I'm having trouble and I haven't made the video yet. When you come on, you can say, hey, Phoenix, I actually got this device too, and I can tell you this is how I do it. Fantastic. I would love that. I want to have this community where we can talk about games. Have you got this game to play? I'm trying to get this game to play. And maybe it's just a driver. Maybe there's a specific driver that will work for it, that with the newer versions, that game isn't working, but an older driver, it is working. So then maybe we could have, play this game on this. If you're playing this game on Eden, use this driver, Mr. Purple, blah, blah, blah version driver, and you'll get the best performance. Anything newer, you lose that performance for whatever reason. Because again, we won't know that unless we have a great community to support each other. And that's what I want. A supportive community that we become a gaming handheld family. That's why, hey fam, because I want us to be like a family that helps each other and we can all enjoy this hobby together. But I'm getting off my soapbox for the night. It is 9:02 now, and I'm sure my wife and my young 21-month-old son Dominic are excited for me to get to bed here shortly, and I'm excited to get to bed with them and join them, spend a little time with them, hopefully, because he hasn't gone to bed, I can tell. But he's a cute little sweet guy. And with that said, I am not going to bother you anymore. So I want to thank you for watching this live stream. Again, I am getting better. Today was the first time I've ever shared another screen besides this whenever we did the drawing. So I'm glad we were able to do that live, and I hope to get better across the board. And always, and the way I get better is with your valuable input. So let me know what I can do better, what you like, what you don't like, so I can be better. Maybe my thumbnail, what you thought was horrible, but it got your attention at least. Let me know that, and I'll be happy to see what I can do to make it better. If you have an idea to make whatever you don't like better, let me know so I can do better. But again, I'm dragging on, and I should stop dragging on. So I'm going to end this broadcast now. Again, I want to thank you for watching this because, again, I know you have a lot of options on YouTube, and I don't want to be the forgotten one. I want to grow my channel. So if you know anyone else that would like handhelds as well, I hope that you'll share my videos with them, and always will appreciate your feedback to make me better. Because again, I'm only 6 months in this journey. My first video was the first time I had ever edited any video in my life. So I still have a lot of room for improvement. That said, it's time for me to go. So until next time, I've been Phoenix.